Welcome to A View from Brussels. As negotiation about the next long-term budget of the EU intensifies, today's debate comes at a moment when Europe is being forced to rethink not only how much it spends, but also where it chooses to invest. With resources under pressure and competing priorities growing, difficult choices are emerging about what the EU should focus on and how those ambitions should be financed. To discuss the future of the EU budget and what it means for member states and citizens alike, we're joined by Carla Tavares. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
So let me start very directly. Has the geopolitical reality changed faster than the EU's financial architecture?
Well, it's a very good question to the beginning. Yes, a lot. In this moment, we have different challenges that we have when the Parliament, Commission and Council works in this current MFF. We have the war in the borders of the European Union. You have a lot of challenges with security, defense, competitiveness. We discuss a lot in the European Parliament. We have the big proposal from the Commission, presented by Ursula von der Leyen, about the competitiveness. Of course, we have the crisis in energy, for example, in this moment. So it changed a lot, yes.
Could you identify one area where the current budget framework is no longer fit for purpose?
For example, in security and defense, in the crisis of energy, to protect the borders. We have a lot of challenge, as I said, in the European Union. Into competitiveness, we need, with this situation in the world and with this crazy position from United States and the power of the China and the United States in the world, the European Union need to be more competitiveness. So what we have now in this current MFF, the principal areas, the principal lines to work with this current MFF, it's not in line in this moment with the challenge that we have on the table.
There's a growing sense that the EU is being asked to do more on defense and competitiveness, like you were saying, and also global influence, but resources remain limited. Can Europe deliver on all its strategic objectives without increasing the overall size of the budget?
I think this is impossible. It's my opinion. We are working around the next MFF. We present a proposal and vote the interim report in April in the plenary. We have the negotiation box by the Cyprus presidency, the negotiation box 2 weeks ago. And of course, if you need to have more ambition, if you need to have new priorities, at the same time it's impossible to kill the traditional policies as cohesion, agriculture, fisheries, European Social Fund. We need to have more revenues. We need to have bigger budget, a bigger MFF to be possible to respond to all the old priorities and the new challenge that we have on the table. And it's impossible if the member states don't discuss the new own resources. This is a strong position from the Parliament. It's positive to see that they start this discussion. In the proposal from the Commission from the July 2025, the Commission put in the proposal some new own resources. We know that, for example, with the tobacco or with the core, it's not easy between the 27 member states. So the Parliament, in this interim report, push for another new own resources because we need to pay the ambition. And if it's not possible to member states, pay more. If we don't want to reduce or cut in the new priorities or in traditional policies, we need to have new own resources. And in this moment, in my opinion, this is the big challenge on the table because we need to have an agreement in the Council between the 27 member states.
There's a stronger focus on these new priorities like defense and strategic autonomy, yet many member states are concerned that this could come at the expense of traditional policies like the cohesion funds and the common agricultural policy, and that the impact may not be felt equally all around EU. Could certain regions end up losing proportionally more than others? And how can the EU ensure that the next budget does not create new imbalances between all the member states?
In the proposal of the Commission, they merge all the traditional priorities, the agriculture, fisheries, for example, cohesion, European Social Fund, and the Parliament defend to have standalone funds to, for example, to European Social Fund. We defend don't put together, for example, agriculture and cohesion to be possible to try don't have this that you say, because if you put everything together, the agricultures will become they will compete with the cohesion, and the regions and municipalities with agriculture, and it's not a good future to the next MFF. So the position of the Parliament, the mandate that the two co-rapporteurs have, Siegfried and me, it's very clear to refinancing in these priorities the amounts that the Commission put in the proposal.
In fact, the Commission is proposing to reshape how the cohesion policy is governed, particularly through the national and regional partnership plans. Can you explain what is at stake in this shift?
It's what I say. I think in the proposal of the Commission we have maybe two problems, maybe it's a strong word, but two problems. The role of regions and municipalities, and it's very important in the MFF have in all the process since the beginning the regions and the municipalities. If you have a good approach from the citizens and in the local level, it's more easy to have good results in the MFF. In the end of the process, have much better results, because if you put all the decision in the national level, it's much more difficult to have good results in the end of the process. So we defend the rule of regions and the municipalities, and we defend to separate the funds. We need to have a box to the European Social Fund, a box to the fisheries, a box to the agriculture, and a box, for example, to cohesion, to separate all these traditional priorities. And what Commission do, they put everything together in the heading 1, but inside the same line of budget.
You previously mentioned EU new own resources, but how politically feasible is it to introduce them at this stage?
What we know, the Commission, the Council, start the discussion. In this moment, we have the different positions inside the Council and between the 27 member states. We have some countries who say, okay, we don't want to pay more. It's not possible for us to pay more. Another member states say, okay, we don't want to pay the ambition. And the other member states, usually the friends of the cohesion, have a different position. Say, okay, we need to invest in competitiveness, defense, security, research, innovation, artificial intelligence. For example, it's very important to the future and to the next MFF. But at the same time, we need to invest in traditional policies. So what we feel and what we know, it's in this moment in this council, they are start to discuss the discussion new proposal from own resources. For example, the digital tax, everything we buy online to the big enterprises, not European enterprises, the game online, and we know that in the council start to work in the proposal of the Commission plus the proposal from the Parliament.
In the past few years, the EU had to respond to several crises. The pandemic, through the Recovery and Resilience Facility, financial support for Ukraine, and now the renewed instability in the Middle East. When you look at all of this together, do you think that the EU actually has a coherent financial strategy for crisis?
No. During these last years, I think no. I think the European Union was able to respond to COVID, for example. It was a big crisis to the Europeans and to the world. But I think it was important to have the RRF, the Next Generation EU, when we have the COVID. It was a special mechanism, finished now in the summer. In the last days and during these 2 years, we have a lot of moments inside the Parliament with big discussions, positive discussions, work discussions around the RRF, what it's good, what it's not so good. This next MFF, it's another issue, another challenge in the next MFF, need to give to the Europeans the conditions to be prepared to allocate funds when we need and when we have an urgency. I think all of us will remember what's happened in Valencia with the floods 2 years ago, and the European Union didn't be prepared to react to this moment. It was necessary to take a lot of the urgent decisions during a lot of successive days to find a solution. And it's another concern from the Commission, Council and the Parliament that the next MFF, it's a long-term financial framework for 7 years, need to be prepared to respond to the crisis that we can have in the future.
Has Europe become too comfortable with creating exceptional instruments every time a new crisis emerges rather than anticipating them?
It's important that in the next MFF we have the basis to anticipate what can happen in these 7 years. In the regulation we need to be prepared, because if you have the basis in the beginning of the process, you don't need to, when something unexpected happens, we don't need to stop everything to change the regulations, to go to the Commission, to go to the Parliament, to go to the Council, and we need a lot of time to hold this process. So it's very important. We learned what we have now in this current MFF to be possible in the next MFF, that the regulation be prepared to respond to these situations.
And to conclude, you've said that the EU budget should put people at the center. But for many citizens, this discussion feels quite distant and technical. Why do you think that disconnect is still here, and what would actually make people feel like this decision mattered to them?
It's difficult. I was mayor during 12 years, and before the other 12 years vice mayor. I come from Portugal, so it's a country, and I was mayor in a big city near Lisbon. And a lot of the investments that we have in my city, it will be very much more difficult if we don't have this good relation between the European funds, national funds and local funds. And still it's very difficult to explain to the people, look, if we don't have the support from the European budget, we don't have so many schools at the same time, it's not possible to build a lot of social housing, it's not possible to build health centers to the health. And it's difficult to pass this message to the people. And in this case, this MFF, it's a little crazy, because they take out for example, civil society, NGOs, municipal level, regional level, to the center of the decision. If we want that the people understand how important is the support of European Union, we need to put the citizens in the middle, in the center of the decision. And it is possible when you have the municipalities involved since the beginning. I think it's important to put the people in the center of the decision, in the traditional policies. In the other areas, for example, now we have a lot of concerns with, for example, energy, with the war, with everything what's happened. It's important to try to explain to the people that my country alone can't resolve anything. It's a small country. If we are together, the 27, it's much more easy to have solutions to take better the life from the citizens. When we talk, for example, about competitiveness, My country, it's an amazing country, but it's a small country. In the end of the European Union alone, it's impossible to fight for competitiveness in the world, to fight with China enterprises or with American enterprises. Of course, if we work together, it's more easy. For the small countries and in the end for all the countries in the European Union.
Thank you, Carla, for joining us today. If you enjoyed this episode of Baby from Brussels, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.